there's some fireworks going off right now, and I'm not going to apologize for the noise or the fact that this is kind of really shitty lighting. But I was talking to myself in the car, and I wanted to have a conversation with y'all. I've just had a lot of thoughts, like a lot of thoughts driving. And I wanted to talk to you guys about cheating. And my experience with cheating and how I just had all these thoughts. Because, you know, intrusive thoughts of things happening. You know, they just come to mind and I'm like, ooh, I should just really turn my camera on right now because I gotta preach some stuff. Okay, so I don't know where these thoughts came from, but I thought about my, experience with cheating and how I'm really trying hard to reword things. If you guys want to listen to the fireworks, if it's too noisy, it's a vibe. Okay, so I had this one relationship, and it's not something that I can't get over. It's something that took me, I'm gonna say a lifetime, but I haven't achieved a lifetime yet. Okay, it's a little noisy. It's taking me the 3 decades that I've been alive to process, as the Canadians say. And I believe that I still need the proper tools, the proper therapy to fully get over it. But I full-heartedly believe, and it's taken me thus far in my life, I experienced this, not only this thing, but events in my life to share with y'all, or just in general. So when I was 15 years old, I fell in love for the first time. And I know, you know, when we're teenagers and adults, even me now, you know, oh, we look down upon teenagers and we say they're not really in love, they don't know love. Like, I thought this was going to be my high school sweetheart. I thought this was going to be, like, in a perfect world, the way that I imagined it. Like, this was the one. This was it for me, you know? And I was wrong, okay? And I want to get back. I want to get into the origin story of that. I want to get into, like, how it all started. Like, I really, really got to talk to y'all about that. But one of the things that really psychologically messed me up as a woman, as a girl in society, you know, and I was born in the late 80s, y'all. So times have thus changed, and they're still changing, but we had a different mentality back then, and I still think that there's shadows of it, and that's why I like talking about this stuff. Because for so long, I thought, and I think I'm generalizing here, for most women, girls, we thought, and there's some of us that still think this, but I think we've come a long way, that if a boy cheats, it's something the woman did. It's something the woman couldn't do. You know, I've read comments in my YouTube, not my YouTube, but just, you know, watching YouTube, and I've seen a lot of things, and someone said, you know, someone doesn't cheat unless the bucket's not full, so they're gonna go somewhere else to fill that bucket. I didn't know at the time that this guy was an ego, and I'll explain it more, and I'm not shaming him. Maybe he's changed now, but he was the quintessential egotistical, like, so full of ego, like, before we even knew what ego was, or at least my little tiny brain back then. Misogynistic. I mean, the guy was an Abercrombie model, and I'm not shitting on Abercrombie models, but like, he just thought that he was God's gift to earth, and he still does. And he has, okay, so let me rewind. It really psychologically effed with me because he cheated on me with a friend, but it wasn't my friend. It was a friend that he introduced me to, a friend that went to the same all-girls school that I went to, who was 1 year older than me. And no, she was 2 years older than me, because he was also 2 years older than me, and they were the same age. Because by sophomore year, she was a senior, and then it got better for me in high school in my junior year because that bitch was gone. But she was the popular girl, and I just never understood it from my perspective. This girl, I just never understood the fascination, because I understand now that it's an energy thing, and this girl just had a lot of confidence, just very charismatic, very bubbly, but physically she was not appealing. And I truly believe sometimes that maybe how I see somebody, or one person sees somebody else is going to see it totally different. But we all had mutual friends, and even later on in life, I knew somebody, I knew a lot of people that knew this girl, but one of them was on the same wavelength of like not liking her. And she went to a different school where all those guys knew this girl because she was a popular cheerleader. Even though it was all girls, like all of the schools were integrated. Like she knew everybody from all the schools. She was so popular. And the other girl that also knew her also said the same thing. Like, I don't get what the fascination is with her. Like, there was just, to me, she looked like a penguin, and I just never understood it. And it's not the first time that he cheated on me either. He cheated on me in the beginning with another girl who looked like her as well. So during that time, I'm like, oh my God, like, I'm the problem. Like, he thinks that, like, it's so hard for me to articulate, but for girls, it's like a competition thing, right? So those girls, both Sarah and Brittany, yeah, I'm gonna call y'all out. It would be a Sarah and Brittany. I'm sorry to anybody who's named Sarah or Brittany, but oh my God. They thought they were hot shit. They thought they won. They thought they trumped me, you know, no pun intended, but they were just like so smug, like that cheerleader gif where she's just like, and I really felt so submissive. Like, I felt so low because the way that I was treated afterwards, I truly felt like I was the one that hooked up with my own boyfriend. You know, I thought it was like the other way around. Like, I was Sarah or Brittany. You know, it made no sense why I was like treated that way, or my perspective of it was that. And I was just driving and I was thinking to myself, like, it had nothing to do with me. It had nothing to do with how those girls looked. Because it turned out that I found out later on, because everybody knows each other in here, in this little small world of Chicago, that the next girl he was with was objectively prettier than me in a different way, you know? And I was a little bit of a hater, but it turned out that he cheated on her. He's been cheating on every single person he's ever been with, and it had nothing to do with the way that they looked. But he was very verbally and psychologically abusive. And I blocked so much of it out. But one thing that I specifically remember was him telling me about how, like, I have these intrusive memories that come to mind where one time when we were on good terms, he was holding me while we were looking in the mirror together. And he's like, you're so beautiful. You're so beautiful. And then when things got bad, and I was still with him, which I wish I could have gone back and just like broken up. Like, I didn't know boundaries, and I was I'm still very forgiving, but the trust was gone and our relationship was just fucked. ADHD, but go back. I had a really good point. Oh, and then the next memory I have was him talking to me on the phone and being like, all those girls you go to school with think you're so ugly. They don't know why I'm with you because you're just so ugly. And then he would send me our last interactions when AOL was a thing. He sent me a picture of a really hot Brazilian girl in the corner of his room, which it was questionable whether or not it was his room, but I knew it was his room. And she was just like, she had his jacket on naked and was like putting on lipstick like this, like kneeling on the floor. And that's when I knew. I was like, how psychologically fucked up is this guy to not only hook up with another chick, but then send me pictures of him and send me pictures of her after they boned. I was like, this guy is sick. And it was like one of the it was like towards the very, very end where I'm like, and I mentioned this before, and again, just intrusive memories, like, it was just so traumatizing to me. My junior year, first of all, he went to all of my dances at my school with other girls. My sophomore year, my junior year, and my senior year. So I saw him at all these dances. But at the very beginning of junior year, it was like a little homecoming. And if y'all know, homecoming's in the beginning of the year. And he literally went up to me, tapped me on the shoulder, and was like, hey, remember that time you thought I cheated on you when I didn't? And I was like, but you did, you know? And I didn't even say that. I was just like, and that was like I think that was like the last interaction we ever had. And then I ignored him at senior prom. The girl that he was with hated me since freshman year, probably because she wanted to do him. Like, no one was even concerned. The girl that he went to senior prom with, he went to our junior homecoming with her friend. And they also knew Brittany, and they didn't know Sarah. But it was just crazy. Like, all these girls were so mad at me when they should have been mad at each other. Like, y'all probably passed around a few things. But I really just, like, had this whole epiphany as I'm driving. And I'm like, wow. I really thought, and, like, females think, that it has something to do with the way that they look. That it has something to do about them. And maybe at the end of the day, there was something that just wasn't, I don't know. Things should have been cut off. But, you know, Brittany really thought she was hot shit. She really thought she was hot shit. And she bullied me, and she made everybody else hate me. And then the second she was gone, things got better for me because she was just intertwined with everybody. Like, I don't know what this bitch could possibly say. Like, it was a cliche Mean Girls scene where her mommy and daddy were rich, and I was walking to, you know, my little Nissan with my friend, and she just zooms on by after school with a load of friends in her white convertible, and she's like, you fucking bitch. And they're like, who was the bitch though? Obviously, I still have like traumatic feelings about it that I've tried to process, but what I initially tried to get on here and say was that, you know, if there's any younger people watching, any young women, like, it has nothing to do with you. And at the end of the day, those girls didn't win. You know what I mean? There's a lot of things that I wish I could have done differently in my life, but one of the first things was just cut it off with that guy. Cut it off with that guy and just had better freaking boundaries. Like, that shit scarred me for life. Like, I don't know if y'all ever, like, fell so deeply in love and you're just heart and everything, and like on top of it was just like toxic. It became toxic, and I let it go on we were only really together for 9 months, but we carried on our relationship for 2 years. So from my freshman year until the beginning of junior year. And I really beat up myself for that, but I am trying to show myself compassion.